Welcome back. Interesting day ahead for July 2nd. So grab your favorite cuppa, sit back, and let's check it out. Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for July 2nd. July 2nd is the 183rd day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 184th in leap years, with 182 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is eudaimonic. Eudaimonic is an adjective that means relating to or conducive to happiness. I'm going to cut in here to give you a couple of example sentences using the word eudaimonic, because I didn't do that the first time I recorded this episode. Example sentences for eudaimonic could include, her philosophy of life was deeply eudaimonic, centered on achieving true happiness through virtue and personal growth. Or, the retreat focused on eudaimonic well-being rather than fleeting pleasures, encouraging participants to cultivate purpose and inner peace. So there are some example sentences using the word eudaimonic. Now, back to the video. This word evolves to us from Greek parts eu, that means good, and daimon, D-A-I-M-O-N, that means spirit, fate, or fortune. First known use of the word eudaimonic is in 1832, eudaimonic. And with that, the Continental Congress adopted a resolution on July 2, 1776, severing ties with the Kingdom of Great Britain, although the wording of the formal Declaration of Independence was not adopted until July 4th. On July 2, 1881, a man named Charles J. Guiteau shot and fatally wounded U.S. President James Garfield, who ultimately would die of complications from his wounds later in the year. The first Zeppelin flight took place in Germany on July 2, 1900. Now, we mentioned the Night of the Long Knives the other day. You might remember that this was a political purge by assassination, which they called extrajudicial executions. Interestingly, the phrase, Night of the Long Knives, in the German language predates these killings and generally refers to acts of vengeance. At least 85 people died in this purge, as we mentioned before, and the death toll was more likely to have been in the hundreds. In addition, more than 1,000 perceived opponents were arrested. All that to say that the Night of the Long Knives ended on July 2, 1934, with the death of Ernst Röhm, leader of the SA, who was perceived as a potential rival to Hitler. The first Walmart store opened for business at Rogers, Arkansas on July 2, 1962. On July 2, 1964, President Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964. This was the civil rights and labor law that outlaws discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. France conducted its first nuclear weapons test in the Pacific on July 2, 1966. The movie Men in Black premiered in theaters on July 2, 1997. And before we get on to the song of the day, let me say that I'll include a link to a previous episode for July 2nd, just in case you'd like to see what I covered previously and how I approached it. Today's song is Strangers in the Night by Frank Sinatra, number 1 on July 2, 1966. Strangers in the Night was composed by Burt Camford with English lyrics by Charles Singleton and Eddie Snyder. The song was originally offered to Greek actress and singer Melina Mercouri to sing, but she felt the song would be better suited to be sung by a male voice, so she passed on it, and Frank Sinatra took it up. For as beautiful a job as Frank Sinatra did singing this song, he really didn't like the song at all. I'm glad he didn't let that get in the way of him singing it, though, and it gave him his first number 1 hit in 11 years. Strangers in the Night was recorded in April of 1966 and hit number 1 on July 2, 1966. Strangers in the Night by Frank Sinatra. Link in the description. How about that? As I was reviewing today's topics, looking for a common thread for our quote, it occurred to me that many of the events of July 2nd can be explained by the advice in the quote that I will give you shortly. And that is, where is it? Do not wait for the perfect moment. Take the moment and make it perfect. And we don't know who said that the first time. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Take the moment and make it perfect. I really wanted to add an exclamation point to that quote. Alrighty, y'all take care. Be good to each other. I'll see you next time. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoyed this series, you can check out the playlists in the description. You can find me on BitChute, Facebook, Odyssey, Rumble, YouTube, and X, as well as on a blog page called No Really. All those links are in the description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.